Hello, everyone, and welcome to our next episode of the Spotlight on Success series. And today I am so excited to welcome Linda Pond to our show. Well, today's topic is very exciting and one that I think is so relevant to women, and that is getting noticed. So before we jump in and talk about how Linda recommends women get noticed, let me give you a little bit of information on her business. Linda Pond is an inventor, author, and speaker and has done much to propel herself into the limelight. So she's the perfect one for this topic. These days, it's not about who you know or even who knows you, but who notices you. As women, sometimes we hold ourselves back because to others it may appear we are boastful or showing off. To be a success, according to Linda, we must leave that kind of thinking with the dishes in the kitchen. I love it. So Linda, let's jump right in and talk about it. Talk about getting noticed from your expertise. I mean, obviously doing what you have done so far in your career required you to be noticed, to get out there in the spotlight and let people know what you had to offer and that type of thing. So what do we as women need to do to get noticed?
Well, I think the very first thing is you need to have a bolstered confidence, because in order to get noticed, you have to look at the people looking at you. So if you're not holding yourself in a confident space, then chances are they're going to see that, okay, well, she's not that confident in herself, so I'm not going to be confident in her. So what really needs to happen when you're getting out there is just take a step back and look internally and say, am I confident enough to have the eyes of the world on me? Okay, because that was the biggest hurdle for me when I was first starting out, because although I would say, I'm confident and I'm, in control, I really wasn't. And so that kind of was a mixed message for my audience as they were looking at me and going, no, it doesn't come across like the way I wanted it to. So number one would be to bolster your confidence, and I also have used some pretty interesting ways to do that. So it's been kind of a step-by-step process for me to get noticed.
So how did you go about, if you could just give us a couple of examples where you weren't necessarily emulating confidence, but were able to talk about it? How did you merge those two things together?
Well, a couple of things that I looked at, doing things that I loved, but they were mostly things that I would do by myself. For example, I play the guitar and I like to sing, but that was like a horrifying notion to stand up in front of people to actually do that. So I said, well, I need to have the confidence to do that. So I actually took singing lessons. I took my guitar to a little outlet here in town and asked them, could I take singing lessons with you with my guitar and just sing the songs that I sing and like to play, so that someday I could play, around a campfire, for example. I didn't want to actually be a performer, but I just wanted to have the confidence to actually stand up in front of people and do the things that I'm passionate about. And I have also taken, public speaking lessons, those kinds of things where I'm getting some education behind what is bolstering the confidence.
Absolutely, and I'm sure that in some ways, just by the sheer practicing of your art, that it desensitizes you to that pressure. And so whether you're performing in front of 2 people or 200 people, at some point you get comfortable in your own skin enough to have that not matter.
That's so right on the mark, Shannon. And it was something that was pointed out to me before. Well, you're not confident in yourself. How can you expect others to be confident in you? That was the statement that came across. And went, wow. And so thank you for being honest there, Mr. Mann. But I've taken that to heart and taken the things that will make me more confident in myself.
Absolutely. Well, and I'm so proud of you for pursuing that. I think that's another thing that women don't necessarily readily do, and that's take a step outside their comfort zone.
Yes, and that's a huge one. I mean, for us to be successful, you have to have a great story. And that's the other thing, that if you're going to be noticed, you should have a great story. And so the people that can listen to the story get excited because you're excited about it.
Absolutely, because that's where your passion starts to come through. So tell us a little bit, I would love to know a little bit about some of the unusual ways that you've gone about getting yourself noticed.
Okay. Well, the very first one, and I think it's the easiest one and maybe the most important one, is to have a very interesting business card. Because when you're out there networking, it's one thing to give someone your contact information, but it's another thing to give someone a very interesting card so they can look at it and say, oh, what a great card. And so that opens up the whole conversation. It becomes something focused away from you and away from your business, perhaps, at a networking event, and concentrates the attention of the other person on something other than you and them. So it's a great icebreaker. So my business card, actually, I started out my business with my picture, which I thought was a good idea because I'm always networking, and pictures to me is another personal way to come across to people. But a very good person who said, I really like your business card, but I hate that it has your picture on it. So can we do something about that? And I said, well, no, I like my picture on it. She said, okay, well, what if I do something funky with your picture? And I said, okay, I like funky. So what we did is we took my picture and blew it up so that the whole card only had half of my face. So it was a very large, and you could almost not even tell it was me, but I could tell it was me. And people would go, oh, look at that. I've never seen anything like that before. So really, that's what I'm going for. For people to say, I've not heard of that before. I've not seen it done that way before. I've never heard of it done that. To have that response back from the people, that means, okay, you're on the right track. So the business card is the first one and probably the most important.
What do you do specifically to get yourself noticed at networking events? Because that's something that is big for a lot of people, especially if they're trying to promote a business on a local level, but then take it even nationally. And if you're attending large women entrepreneurs conferences and events and things like that, it can be a little intimidating. So I'd love to hear some of your best suggestions on how to network at those events.
Great. And this is something that I've noticed over and over and over again, because networking is probably your number one way to market yourself. And the way I approach it is, first of all, I'm excited and enthusiastic to be there. For the people that are terrified and really don't want to be there, but they know they have to go, that shows all over the place. So as soon as you step into the room and you're already intimidated, people sense that. So what I do is when I arrive at an event, I make sure I'm presentable, and I walk through the room with a smile already on your face. So you're already smiling, you're already looking like you love to be there, and which draws people to you. It really, really does. So when people see a big smile, they go, oh, there's a friendly person and someone I can go and talk to. Another thing, I'll look around the room too at an event and find those terrified folks who are hiding in the corner and really don't know what to say to the people, and go to them and draw them out. So I'll be the one to initiate conversations. Another thing, which is very intimidating until I learned how to do this, when you see a group of people who are standing, say, in a circle, which happens a lot. So they're standing in a circle, they're all talking amongst themselves, but you want to be part of that group. So what I do is I'll stand a little off to the side of that circle, like within their personal space, if you know what I mean. So they actually notice me standing there, and most of the time they'll open the circle to let me in. Really, and you don't really have to do much more than that, unless they're in such a deep conversation, which really shouldn't happen at a networking event, but unless they're in such a deep conversation that nobody noticed you standing there, well, you could say, hi folks, can I join this conversation, or something very light and bright and enthusiastic. And almost always people will let you in. And then it's just a matter of introducing yourself and saying, here's what I am and what do you do? When I go to a networking event, I take my business card and attach it to my name tag. So my business card then becomes my name tag. Most often, that will, again, cause people to ask questions, which deflects that awkwardness away from, talking to strangers.
Mm-hmm. And also might get them to say, may I have that, please?
Yes.
Well, Linda, tell us about how getting noticed has really impacted your business in a positive way.
Well, things like all of the social media that's out there right now has propelled me and my business to those that may not have had the opportunity to hear about it. For example, I've just had a YouTube video created, and it's out there in the airwaves making its way around the world, which is very exciting. Which, when people hear about the business and about the product, and it's really the product that I'm trying to promote, but at the same time, a product without the personality is like only about half the story. And because the story is very interesting, like the product itself that I was, fortunate to invent was also invented with my daughter. So we are actually co-patent owners on our product. So I've been able to promote the story, and it's not just me anymore. It's now my daughter who is now. That's some of my accountability. So now it's just not just me, it's my daughter whom I'm helping to promote. So the getting noticed thing is very important in that regard, as well as looking at different ways to get out there. And one of those things is there's a TV show here in Canada called Dragon's Den, and we took our product and actually pitched it during the taping of the show, and it will be on sometime this season, although they haven't given us a date yet. But that is also another way to really get out there and get yourself noticed, which is really, once we do that and get the millions of people who are going to see us and the product, it will hopefully skyrocket our sales. So getting noticed is key.
Absolutely, and that is a big step from a networking event to, national television. That's awesome.
Yes, thank you very much. It was a huge, huge step, and once again, that having that confidence to do that, like everybody who, is close to me, they'll go, wow, like you're really doing this. And I said, yep, I am really doing it. And it's very hard, don't get me wrong. It's very hard to push yourself beyond that comfort zone, and when you're talking about national television, that's a huge unknown. So when it's as unknown as that, if you're not confident and you don't want to get noticed.
Exactly. Can you tell us quickly, Linda, what is this product? Because I think everybody who's listening is like, what did you invent?
Oh, okay. It's very, very simple. It's a little light that goes on the inside lid of your camping cooler. All right, so when you open the lid, the light comes on. Close the lid, the light goes off. It's very simple. And if I have one here, I don't know if you could see. This is called, now it's on, but you can't see because of all the daylight. But it just works on a little tip switch that as the ball bearing moves, it causes the circuit to complete and it goes on and off. When I'm a ball player. I play ball with my daughter, and so the two of us were sitting around with our ball team. We play ladies fastball, and my daughter said, how come, as she was reaching into the dark cooler, how come a fridge has a light but a cooler doesn't? And I said, that's an interesting question. I don't know why, but we continued to, enjoy our refreshments. And at the end of the night, I went home and actually did a little search on the internet to find out where can I buy a light for a cooler. And it turned out that there wasn't anything like that on the market, which then set my mind racing. And so I went to all kinds of different people to talk to them about the idea and what is the validity of it. And every single person I talked to said, what a great idea, number one. Why didn't I think of that, number two? And so we just plowed ahead, and against all odds, we actually got ourselves a distributor and are now selling our product around the world.
That's so cool. I just love it.
Thank you very much. So we've advanced from it just being a light in a cooler to a light in a toolbox, a light in a tackle box, a light in any single box that has a hinged lid that you actually want to open and see in the dark, perhaps. So we've taken it from the cooler light, which is how it's being distributed by our distributor now, to the FAB light, F-A-B, because FAB stands for find a beer in a cooler, find a bobber, find a barrette, find a blush, find a brush, any kind of thing you would like to find in an enclosed box.
That is so fantastic. I bet you made a lot of tailgaters really happy.
Oh, yes, I'll tell you right now. We just took the product just even in our own little town to all the other, sports teams that happen to, enjoy that after game beverage, and they all wanted one. So it was really it's such a visual product that when people see it, especially in the dark, they go, wow, okay, I want one of those. How can I get one? So it's been fun.
Oh, that's very exciting. I really love ingenuity when entrepreneurs just go out there and solve an issue that you many times would think, well, duh, but nobody's taken the time to actually put it into action. And so to do that, it has to be so exciting. And I'm sure this is probably just the tip of the iceberg for your creativity and your instincts going forward. So that's
Thank you.
I love it. Well, Linda, I absolutely love all the meat that you gave us today, the great tips for how to get noticed, because as we started this episode today, it is so important for women especially who tend to shy away from the spotlight. And the bottom line is that if you don't let people know how great you are, they're just not going to know.
Right. So. But you have to think you're great too, as funny as that sounds. I know my daughter, sometimes she'll go toot toot, like I'm tooting my own horn, and it kind of makes me uneasy, but it's got to be done, and you have to do that, and you have to be bright, and you have to be great to yourself and to others.
Absolutely. Don't squander your gifts, ladies. Can't wait to see what happens with Dragon's Den. Best wishes on that.
Thank you very much, Shannon. I'll make sure that I let you know when it's going to be on.
That would be fantastic. Well, thank you so much again for your time today. I appreciate it.
You're very welcome, and thank you, and good luck to you, Shannon.
Thank you.
Bye.
Take care. Bye-bye.